come to order. All rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. The clerk will call the roll.
Councillor Anderson? Councillor Kamel? Councillor Condon? Councillor Crowe? Councillor DiMaria? Councillor Matheson? Councillor Murphy? Councillor O'Malley? Councillor Spatafora? Councillor Winslow? President Council Seeker.
Here. Under the provisions of the open meeting law, for those of you in attendance, please be informed that MATV is recording this evening's meeting, and one of our Malden residents, John Mayara, is also recording, so just be aware there will be audio and video recording of this meeting. First order of business. Do you have announcements? Did Tom give you announcements? Sure. Which one? Yep.
So that would be 5 minutes.
Okay, the guest tonight is Dr. Brendan Connor. He's a Malden resident and a physical therapist who serves on the board of directors of the American Physical Therapy Association of Massachusetts. He will appear before the council to speak about the Malden Bike Rodeo.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
so
you
like
for
I
coming.
was just announced, I'm a physical therapist, so part of what I do as my job is get people moving, get people exercising, all that sort of fun stuff. So we had a great opportunity in Malden where we got in touch with some people from Mass Bike and some other groups locally. So we kind of put together this bike rodeo. So if you've never been to a bike rodeo, there's no cows, there's no clowns, but you do ride a bike around. So it's basically teaching kids of all ages, like what I like to say. It's there's no age limit, but it's kind of targeted at kids, teaching them bike skills, how to ride bikes, on paths, on streets, safely, learning hand signals, learning, how to brake properly, all that sort of good stuff. So we have certified instructors who are going to be there to teach the kids what they need to do. We're also going to have some people there from Bike to the Sea who are going to be helping out with little bike maintenance issues. So if a kid has a bike that's been away for the winter, get it ready to go. We've had a huge turnout as far as it's the first time I've really helped put something like this together, and just the support from everybody in Malden's been amazing, from the counselors, Winslow, DiMaria, Crowe in particular, but everybody's kind of come out of the woodwork to help, from the YWCA, Kiwanis, Three Amigos is going to be there with a food truck, which is going to be awesome. We're going to have tacos for Cinco de Mayo. There's going to be free helmets, which is a big thing that YWCA and some others have helped put together. So helmets for kids, so they can come down, get a helmet free of charge, decorated, all that sort of fun stuff. And it's just a great opportunity to get kids in Malden really active and out there enjoying the hopefully good weather we're going to start having any day now. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. But it's this Sunday. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. It goes until 2 o'clock. We're going to do a little bike ride along the Northern Strand. It's taking place at Cambridge Health Alliance right on Canal Street in the parking lot. There's also going to be the fire department and Cataldo ambulances, and the police department's going to be there with some of their equipment too. So great.
Thank you. Councilor DiMaria.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Dr. Brendan Connor, for that presentation. Thank you for bringing this to our community. I think it's something new for the residents, and I'm particularly excited that it is Cinco de Mayo, and we're going to have tacos. So on behalf of the councilors that are part of it, Councilor Crowe and Councilor Winslow, we thank you for bringing this to our community and welcome everybody to this free event. So thank you, Councilor Seeker.
Thank you, Councilor DiMaria. Councilor Spatafora.
Yeah, I just want to echo the thoughts of Council DiMaria. It's not fairly new, though. The Malden Kiwanis and the YWCA did it, I think maybe 12, 15 years ago. I am a Kiwanian, and they were active. They did it every year. And then unfortunately, I think there was some sponsorship that came out, and, organizations are always, looking for more talent and people to volunteer. So it went to every other year, but now we have new blood and organizations and new council, so it's really good to see it come back. I know for a couple of years they didn't have it, but like I said, now that you got new sponsorship and new opportunities, I think it's great. And now to bring some food on Cinco de Mayo is always a pleasure. So I want to thank, like I said, all the volunteers and all the organizations that made this possible. And hopefully we can continue it every year going forward. Thank you, Madam President.
Great, thank you. I apologize. I think the microphones are not working properly. So, just so everyone knows, if you press your button, it's going to light up and you're going to be live. So maybe everybody could just raise your hand. I'm not quite sure, but I all of a sudden saw lights and didn't see lights and a list and then not a list. So we're a little crazy up here, so please bear with me. If you want to speak, just, I'll look around, okay? Councilor Winslow, you're next because your light's on.
Yeah, I really want to thank Brendan for taking this on and getting us to do these again. And we have done quite a few over the years, and but it's been a couple years since we had this big of one. And also to the YWCA who's sticking up big time and helping us get the helmets, and the donor, the anonymous donor did this, and the Kiwanis are actually involved this year. They are donating some helmets, so it's a really great time. It looks like it's going to be a fun day, and the only rule is that you have to go out and ride your bike before you eat the tacos. But no, but come out and enjoy it. If you do have a bike, Bike to the Sea is going to be down there, and I'm going to have my toolkit. We're going to have a bike stand, and we can look at your bike, make sure it's safe, pump up your tires and that type of thing. So looking forward to it, and thank you so much for putting this together. Great.
Thank you, Councilor Winslow. Councilor Crowe.
Thank you, Madam President. And as Councilor Winslow did say, we do have an anonymous donor at the YWCA who's really into bike safety. So we have a lot of helmets. So make sure everybody gets out there. We have 750 helmets that will be given out that day. So we're always in need of volunteers. So anybody wants to come help measure kids' heads and, to make sure that they get the right helmet, the right fit, so they're safe, and help decorate. We have lots of craft items so kids can personalize their helmets. We always could use some helmets, and I do echo really the thank you for Brendan, who really kind of spearheaded and made sure that this was brought back and really bigger and better. So I'm looking forward to Sunday, and it looks like we're going to have great weather, so come on out and enjoy.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess I'll just be repeating myself at this point, or repeating everyone else. A bicycle tune-up by Bike to the Sea, tacos, a free bike helmet. I mean, what else could we ask for? Good.
Margaritas.
Councilor Spatafora said tequila. And speaking of tequila, Lime Bike, I believe, is also going to be sponsoring this event. So thank you to Lime Bike and all you do for the community. Thanks.
Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, and I am not going to repeat everything everybody said. I'm just going to take it in a little bit of a different direction, although I agree with everything everyone has said. Just curious, if obviously you can get on the bike path and ride down to the event, which is great, but if you come to the event and you happen to come by car, where will people park? Will they park on Canal Street? Is there any parking places that are reserved for folks when they come?
Can I answer that, Council President? Actually, since Cambridge Health Alliance will be closed, we'll be on the bike rodeo itself will be taking place on the parking lot side closest to Anthony's Restaurant. The other side, Cambridge Health Alliance is closed. That other parking lot will be open, and I'm sure there's parking on Canal Street as well.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? So on another note, apparently we didn't put a public comment sheet out. Is there anybody in the audience that would, oh, no. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, I didn't see it. Okay, so next order of business.
Approval of the minutes, minutes of the council meeting of April 16th, and minutes of the meeting of April 23rd.
Councilor Murphy, you wish to speak? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I did request one change to the minutes, and that was to just change the tense of the presentation from Mystic Myra and Friends of the Malden River to say that they appeared as opposed to will appear. So it was just a minor tense change in the verbs. So I'd like
Okay.
to make that amendment.
Sure. Anyone else? Councilor Murphy's motion, seconded by Councilor Winslow. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes have been approved. Next order of business.
Appointments, council reappointment Kathleen French, 596 Highland Ave, Malden, Mass. As a member of the Board of Assessors. Mayoral reappointment Kevin Alkins, 10 Hillside Road, Tewksbury, Mass. As the Animal Inspector of Animals, term to expire April 30th, 2020. Mayoral appointment Mary Hampton, 29 Beachview Terrace, Malden, Mass. As a member of the Historical Commission, said term to expire November 1st, 2021. And mayoral appointment Michael B. Fixman, 14 Norwood Street, Everett, Mass. As a constable, effective June 1st, 2019. Said term to expire June 1, 2022.
Councilor Crowe.
Actually, I believe the last one we just placed on file, the constable, that doesn't come to committee. So I make a motion that we refer Ms. French, Mr. Alkins, and Ms. Hampton to the Personnel and Appointments Committee.
Councilor Crow's motion to refer these to appointments and personnel. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The appointments have been referred on.
Motion to,
Yep.
place Mr.
On Councilor
Fixman's.
Crow's motion to place mayoral appointment Michael Fixman on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? The appointment's been placed on file. Next order of business.
Hearings and petitions, pool tables, AOH Division 12, 259 Charles Street, Malden, one table renewal. Taxi driver Donald F. Porter, 25 Sherman Street, Everett, renewal. Outdoor parking, Andy Service Center, Inc., 356 Lebanon Street, Malden, 12 spaces, renewal. Outdoor parking, Regano's, Inc., 1081 Fellsway, Malden, 20 spaces, renewal. Outdoor parking, Regano's, Inc., 1152 Eastern Ave, Malden, 10 spaces, renewal. Lodging House, Lawrence W. French, 98 Laurel Street, Malden, renewal.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to refer these papers to license, all those in favor? All those opposed? The petitions have been referred. Next order of business.
Order, be it hereby ordained that Section 9.36 of the revised ordinances of 1991 as amended be hereby further amended by striking portions and inserting language to Section 9.36 per attached document, which everyone has in front of them, I believe.
Councilor Spatafora. We referring? On Councilor Spatafora's motion to refer the matter to Rules and Ordinance, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter has been referred. Next order of business.
Order that the City of Malden offer the sale of PAYT blue trash bags in the following locations during their scheduled business hours. The John and Christina Markey Malden Senior Community Center, located 7 Washington Street, Malden Public Library, 36 Salem Street. These sales will be accountable in each location, and a collection of funds in POS quantifying sheets will be passed in on a weekly basis to the Treasurer's office. There will be no credit card sales. This will offer 2 additional locations for our residents to be able to purchase their blue trash bags.
Councilor Di Maria for the paper.
Thank you, Madam President. And this order actually comes on the heels of the Stop and Shop strike walkout. I heard from many residents that the limited businesses that offer the bags, some of them have gone out of business. The full list is on the website, but as I called in each one of them, some of them are confirmed out of business. Stop and Shop being the biggest vendor of the blue bags. So there was about a week or so that residents really had a dilemma. But as I researched this further, I would like to make an amendment to the order. Unbeknownst to me, there is contract negotiations in the library with the residents, and I wouldn't want to disrupt that. So I'd like to adjust that order to just be offered in the our senior community center for our seniors. I think to start off on a trial basis, I think that will help our older residents to, that are transported in buses and, don't drive or they walk. I know that we had an issue with funds and money in all our departments, but after speaking with the comptroller and the assistant, they feel that that can be done. And so my first would be an amendment to take out the Malden Public Library as an offering only because of what I said, and to move forward offering these pay-as-you-throw bags in the senior center. And it would be my hope to move forward with that this evening. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Matheson.
Yeah, I fully support this, and I applaud the sponsor, because one of the main grievances I hear from the public is that these bags are inconvenient to find and purchase. So this gives them another opportunity to do that. And you have addressed the question that I was going to have about point of sale. Accepting cash has been a problem in our past, but hopefully it'll be administered in a very safe and careful way, and we can look into that further as it goes and gets rolled out. So I support it. I second the motion to amend.
Thank you. Councilor, I'm not going in any order, but I did write down who had their lights on, so Councilor Spatafora.
I think it's a great idea. The only thing I would, is this going to be happening like immediately? The only concern I just have to do, Councilor DiMaria, is we've always had a problem with cash, no matter where we've done this. We've had orders in the past to have this. Now, I know it might be a trial, but I have real big concerns about cash inside our city hall, never mind here. The other issue is, I would just like to see a little bit of what the trial is going to be, meaning, are we going to bring 10 bags here? Because the bags are like cash, and we have to account for the bags and the cash. And I'm not saying anybody is untrustworthy, unworthy, but we don't have any collection policies inside City Hall. We better get some before we drop any bags here. The other thing is, why not accept credit cards, maybe debit cards? Everywhere you go today, some places don't take cash. A lot of seniors, they don't get their Social Security checks anymore by paper check. It's all on a bank account, so I'm assuming they have debit cards. Are we calling that out because of the cost? Because I think if you have a debit card, there's no real cost included on a debit card. So if I want to buy 10 bags, can they take the debit, or is it something the city doesn't want to get involved with? That's the reason why I'm asking. I'm not against it. I would like to just discuss it a little bit more before we jump to this. That's all I had, Madam President, but I think it's a great idea.
Going in order. Okay, so thank you, Councilor Spatafora. So in the senior center, there is a safe, and the director, Karen Hayes, is on board with this. I spoke with her personally. So there is a safe, and I think a smaller supply to start, so there, not 100 bags in a back room that can be, missing. So, and as far as debit cards, I do not believe the senior center takes debit cards nor credit cards. So I think most of our seniors are pretty savvy with that. So maybe that's something we can look into, is the debit card as we move forward. But, as a trial basis, maybe 30 days, see if it works, see if it's too, overtaxing for certainly the department, and if it's not selling out of the the senior center, then there's not a need, it's just, you know, an offering. So we can review it in 30 days, maybe begin immediately. Tomorrow's May 1st, so,
Can I rebuttal,
yep.
Counselor?
Councilor Spatafora.
Yeah, I don't mean, I know this is not a big issue, but this, from being here long enough to understand, I think before, I'm not against this, but even reading our financial reports, which you sponsored, we have no policies in place that Karen can reference right now. So I think Karen Hayes, who's the director, should sit down with the treasurer's office and the controller's office and work on a document to say how this is gonna work, because if Karen's not here and somebody comes with a bag, there should be an understanding what we need to do from an accounting standpoint. And the reason why I think we have to make a mountain out of the molehill is because we've been burned a couple times before, and it's because we've had no policies and procedures. So while it might be a $2 bag, and it might be 20 bags, I just think it's our duty to make sure that Karen and her team has and I'm gonna look to the financial team here in here, there's a policy in place they can look for. If it takes 2 weeks, let's do 2 weeks. I just think we just shouldn't say, let's throw it out there, because I think it will work, Counselor, but it could be a one-page document, 4 bullet points. Like, this is what we're gonna do. They're gonna walk it over to the controller's office and call it that way. And then, because we're not moving the senior center, and when City Hall does move, there has to be a way to get the cash to the treasurer's office. Again, all policies and procedures that I think we should just have in there before we just put it out there. Again, I'm 100% in support of it. If we could do it in a week, let's do it in a week. But I look at those documents that we get from our auditors, and they've said in those things, they come out glaring every year. You have no policies and procedures or checks and balances on anything. So this, to me, while it's small, it's still cash, and I think we should just do it the right way. That's all I ask. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the sponsor as well.
Thank you. Councilor Crowe, did you still want to speak?
Because Ms. Senator, I think just, it was a concern about the cash as we've been pulling that back, then saying, well, this can take cash, and I totally understand, and I think we just do need to have some policies and procedures to make sure that we're doing it right, since we've been working so hard to ensure that we don't take cash. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam President. I wholeheartedly agree with Councilor Spatafora and Councilor Crowe, having been sitting in this seat long enough to see what happens when there isn't an actual document that outlines how cash is going to move from one place to another, how just even the number of bags that are coming from the treasurer's office, I would assume, over here are going to be accounted for. What document is that going to be, you know, written on? Who's going to sign off on it? Who's going to have the key to whatever closet these are going to be kept in? You know, what people at the front desk going to be able to do this? Is it only Karen Hayes who's going to be able to sell them? What happens when she's not here? I think we just need to really look at that. And, you know, my first reaction is, yes, you know, we need to make sure that these bags are available, you know, much more easily for our constituents. There's no question about that, and I applaud you, Councilor DiMaria, for, you know, bringing this to the forefront for us to talk about. My first reaction when I heard it was, you know, well, the senior center is across the street from the treasurer's office, who has a supply. We're talking maybe 25 feet, so why here? Now, granted, our seniors, you know, some of them, you know, have mobility issues, et cetera, and when we move down the street, it will be harder for them to get them. So I can see this as being a hub. But my bigger question is, it's always difficult to park down here. These bags used to be available at the DPW. We took them out of the DPW because of the issue of, you know, how there was no control over the bags itself and the funds. Not that there was ever any indication or any proof that anyone did anything wrong, but once again, they were pulled out of the DPW because of a lack of procedures. I personally would like to see it, you know, this amended to include basically a look at what do we do past just the senior center? You know, do we put them back in the DPW? Should they be down at 17 Pleasant? You know, should there be multiple access points for convenience for people? Easy parking at the DPW. A lot of people go up and down Commercial Street. You can get them there. So, you know, I'd like to see us have a conversation that, you know, incorporates the policies and procedures and potentially other locations where they could potentially be available. So, you know, thanks for bringing it up. But I could not support going forward with the pilot without the policies and procedures written and us being able to look at them. So, Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe that the sponsors' idea to do a limited trial here in the senior center, I think is a good idea. I think it helps keep it controlled. It allows the controls to be over it so you can watch it and make sure that there isn't any spillage of the bags or any of the funds. So with that, I am in support, and I think that it's something looking to see if we can expand it, as Councilor Murphy has said. Councilor Spatafora and I were just having a little sidebar discussion about whether or not there's any option for them to be delivered to homes. Obviously, I think there would be an additional cost there, but that might be something we want to look into with the manufacturer to see if there is a program where they have it so that they can deliver it to seniors who may be more mobility challenged, or anybody if, like you said, in the day of Amazon, you know, maybe that's something we can also look into. So thank you for bringing this up, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor DiMaria.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in the clerk's office recently, as of last December, our city controller worked on a quantifying POS system, which is point of sale. And from the time that we actually decided to move forward with that, it was never implemented. So I am happy to say that with the hard work of Chuck Ranigan, it did get implemented and it is now working in the clerk's office, but none of us knew that. So I think to, to move forward with this, our controller is on vacation. I'd like to maybe bring him in to explain that. And I'm sure that a similar system would be in place in the senior center. So I can certainly move to table this for 2 weeks, if that's okay.
Okay, can
Second
we
for
let a
that?
couple of
Sure,
other
absolutely.
people speak? Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it can be a real challenge for our residents to get access to the bags, and the Stop and Shop strike certainly highlighted that, so I'm definitely supportive of trying to create a new avenue. But I think it's very legitimate. Most public entities have tried to go away from handling cash, and I mean, I think it would be good to, wait a couple weeks, maybe even look at like a one-page, understanding between the senior center and the comptroller, how that everything's being handled, just to clarify that for everybody, and then see how it goes. But I think making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed are these things have a way of getting out of hand, and that's what happens and why you have concerns about. So I'm supportive of tabling and having a little more clarification on the point of sale stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Winslow. Anyone else wish to speak? I am going to from the chair then. On behalf of the chair, I do believe in the spirit of this paper. Last week in Ordinance Committee, we discussed how the majority of the complaints that I received from these blue bags are actually the inconvenience of where to purchase the bags. I think the senior center is great, but it's right next door to 110 Pleasant. It's literally a few hundred feet to the left. I think that we need to possibly come up with other ways or other places that we can purchase bags. Maplewood Square, there's not a store in Maplewood Square that you can buy a blue trash bag at. When Mayor Christensen formed his committee and they talked about possibly having some sort of a vending machine style to be able to purchase the bags, why not look into that? I don't think people necessarily hate the bags as much as they hate the inconvenience of them not being able, last minute Tuesday morning, I ran out of a bag, I just realized it, I have to run to Robinson's to grab a bag and he doesn't have any. So I'm stuck with my bag of trash for a whole week, or I have to go from store to store to find the bag. So I think maybe if we could find other ways, I'd like to see this paper go to committee where we could possibly come up with other ideas, not just the senior center, because the senior center would be convenient for the seniors, but it wouldn't be convenient for me, or you know, somebody on Ward 8, or we're going to be opening up City Hall, 110 Pleasant, still going to be around. I don't know, I just feel like we should be talking about other places that the blue bags can be purchased. You know, convenience stores, I know that they're responsible, but maybe we look into a little bit like vending machine that the city stocks, and out comes the bags if you put your $10 in. Something. It's the inconvenience of these bags that we really need to work on, and I just don't know if putting them at the senior center is going to really make a difference. So, Councilor Matheson, are you looking to press your button?
It was, yeah. You know, I just wanted to say, you know, I applaud this councilor for bringing up the subject, because
I agree.
for a very long time, people have been frustrated with the availability of these bags, and I respectfully disagree with you on the people's sentiment towards the bags. I don't think they like the blue bags either because of the flimsiness of them, and of course, if they run out, they have trash laying around their property, and they're looking for some alternatives to that. But this is a great place to start, and of course, it's got the conversation going now about what else we can do to make them more convenient, and I think that's a very good thing. We did make a tabling motion, but I leave it to the sponsor if she wants to send it to committee for further discussion, or start here at the senior center and then let other folks propose other options.
I certainly will send it to ordinance. I'll make a motion to do that. And I ask the chair of ordinance to make sure to put it on the docket the next couple of weeks. You.
Second.
Finance.
Councilor Spatafora.
I would recommend finance or ordinance. For me, it's the cash in more
It's
locations.
an order, it's an administrative order, though, so wouldn't that go to
But we wouldn't change the
ordinance?
ordinance. I don't know I don't think ordinance would have.
But we would have an administrative order for this. So certainly we're,
I'll take it, doesn't matter. I'll invite the controller and. I'll either one. I'm only.
yeah, we'll send it to finance.
Wherever you want to send it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone second?
Second.
On Councilor DeMaria's motion to refer the paper to finance, seconded by Councilor Matheson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Order, be it hereby ordained that Section 6.20 of the revised ordinances of 1991 be hereby further amended by striking portions and inserting language to Sections 6.21, 6.22, and 6.23 per attached document.
Councilor Spatafora, are we referring it to ordinance?
Referring to ordinance.
On Councilor Spatafora's motion that we refer this paper to ordinance, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Madam President.
Yeah, I thought it was this one.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes, thank you. Can I suggest that these papers that come before us in the docket, although they're referenced in the sections of the ordinance, that they have a title associated with them? I think it would be helpful for the public to know what it is that we're talking about.
Sure.
And referencing just these numbers does not do that. So I would, as a request, just pass that on to the preparer of the docket. Thank you.
Sure. Which one was the last one? So this last one was for amusement machines.
Just a title.
Okay?
Yeah, just a title that goes
Sure.
along with it.
It's
so
like 5 pages. That's why we chose not to read it.
Well, I think my point is that we can look at this docket and see other things that have come before us with references to the numbers in our ordinances, but there's no title along with it, and
Okay.
that would be helpful.
Nope, noted. Anyone else wish to speak? Good? Okay. Did I vote that? Okay. Next order of business.
Ordered that Section 8.42.5 of the revised ordinances of 1991 be amended as related to the police patrolman's salary schedule.
On Councilor Kamel's motion that we refer, motion to adopt. This is a motion.
This will edit ordinances. I would defer to Council Spatafora. Will this go to Ordinance Committee? This particular,
It's,
Yeah, so I can put
hold on. Councilor Spatafora.
Yeah, so Council Kamel is correct that this is technically an ordinance for those councils who might need a little refresher, which I'm sure you don't. Every time there is a raise, there is an ordinance that has to reflect that raise based on the table of their pay, based
it
on
goes to
their.
both of us. I should go,
Yeah, so in the past, it's always been an ordinance change, but it's also always going to finance first. Finance takes a look at those raises in terms of making sure it's in the budget, and then it gets passed out of finance, and then we do an ordinance change to reflect them. We can't negotiate these, it always happens, but we've always, in the past, sent it to finance either with ordinance, or finance will meet with it first, and then they'll discuss it, and then we then pass the ordinance to do that. Because the ordinance committee really doesn't have to do anything other than the fact that say, this is the raise, this is how it's being financed, we'll change the ordinance to reflect that change. So, Council Kamel came up to me.
Apologies.
No, it's fine. Council Kamel asked me before, and I said, probably should send it to finance or do a joint and just get it done.
yeah. So I just flipped the order. I apologize.
No problem, no, either
Makes more
way.
sense. Yep, so, motion to refer to finance.
Okay.
Apologies.
On Councilor Kamel's motion to refer to finance, seconded by Councilor Di Maria. All those in
Yeah.
favor? All those opposed?
I have a question now. We probably should refer to ordinance as well. I just won't take it up until after finance, because it has to get an ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we can refer to ordinance now too, so
Okay.
that once Council Kamel has a finance committee, it's already in ordinance, we can discuss it and then move forward, because there's no other way for us to get it inside ordinance.
Okay.
Does that make sense for everybody?
Yep.
So we'll refer it to ordinance.
Councilor O'Malley.
I don't think it's possible to refer one paper to two committees. I think you probably should refer
Do
to
a
a joint.
joint finance and ordinance.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Or you send it to finance, it gets reported out, and then reported into ordinance.
Might as well do a joint. Refer anyway.
Yeah, you can, I know you can refer to it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, so if you can refer to two committees, then fine.
Yeah.
Okay. On Councilor Spatafora's motion to refer this paper to ordinance, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Order that $6,600,000 is appropriated to pay costs of design and construction of water system improvements throughout the city to be undertaken in fiscal years 2020 through 2024, inclusive, and to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said money under Mass General Law C-44, Sections 7 and 8, or any other enabling authority. All in any portion of this amount may be borrowed through the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, Local Water System Assistance Program, and in conjunction therewith, the mayor and treasurer are each authorized to enter into one or more loan and/or security agreements with the MWRA, and the mayor is authorized to contract for and expend any federal, state, or other aid available for the project, including any grant related to such project from the MWRA, and to take any other action necessary to carry out this project. Any premium received upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the costs of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Mass General Law 44, Section 20, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount.
On Councilor Kamel's motion to refer this paper to finance, all those in favor? All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Ordered that the mayor be authorized to enter into a contract with tax-exempt leasing corporation for the purchase, lease of a ladder truck and engine for the fire department.
We have a communication from the mayor dated April 30th, 2019. Malden City Council, attention J.D. and Seeker President, 110 Pleasant Street. Dear President Seeker and members of the council, we are constantly evaluating our capital needs for each department, and in particular, those within our public safety and public works departments. That ongoing process has identified the need to replace both a ladder truck and an engine within the fire department to ensure the men and women of our department have safe and reliable equipment with which to perform their jobs. One of our current ladder trucks, Ladder 3, is 18 years old. In addition, Engine 2 is over 20 years old. In a community such as ours, these apparatuses get heavy usage, and an ongoing process of replacing aging equipment is prudent. We had hoped grant funding would be available to pay for some of the replacement costs, but pursued all avenues and weren't able to secure any funding. Therefore, I am recommending we make these purchases through a lease/purchase contract with a leasing company. This type of purchase option is used often by cities and towns for this type of equipment. I anticipate a payback period of 5 to 7 years, but will look to our treasurer to work with the leasing company on a deal that makes most sense for all of us. I would like to recognize the efforts of Controller Chuck Ranigan and Fire Chief Kevin Finn, who worked together on identifying a cost-effective way we could fill this need. I ask that you authorize me to enter into a contract with the lease-to-own financing company so that we may execute the contract. This will begin the 12-month period that it takes to assemble both pieces of apparatus. Please let me know if you have any questions. In the meantime, thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Gary Christensen, Mayor, City of Malden. Councilor Kamel?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine we refer this to finance, but I do want to voice my support to look into this. It's been a concern of mine for fire safety across the city, so I'm glad to see this. Refer to finance.
Motion to refer to finance? Oh, Councilor Matheson.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask that sponsors be listed on the docket here. I noticed there's no sponsor. I know that a lot of these emanate from the mayor's office, but perhaps the chairman of finance's name should be on there as a sponsor. It's a procedural matter, but
okay.
I notice it happening from time to time, and it's something we should be cognizant of.
Good? Okay. On Councilor Kamel's motion that we refer this paper to finance, seconded by Councilor Di Maria. All those in favor? All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Ordered that the sum of $51,960.48 be and the same is hereby transferred from salary reserve account 0010-996-5110 to the following accounts: legal salaries $14,141.92, mayor's office salaries $11,851.84, information technology salaries $9,938.76, PIPS salaries $9,504.56, public facility salaries $3,738.28, Board of Health salaries $2,785.12.
We once again have another communication from the mayor, dated April 30th, 2019. Dear President Seeker and members of the council, as you may be aware, the Massachusetts Pay Equity Act was updated in August of 2016 and took effect on July 1st, 2018. This law prohibits discrimination in the payment of wages based on gender for comparable work and ensures greater equity in the workplace. We have been working diligently over the last year to ensure that we are in compliance with the statute. We did that by performing a comprehensive self-assessment of our pay practices. Specifically, we engaged outside experts in employment law, received all documents that existed to us in the form of law, its nuisances, and its application to municipal government. And we developed an extensive category system based upon detail, in-depth discussion on the skills, efforts, and responsibilities of each employee. Throughout this exercise, we have identified 6 employees that we believe require a pay adjustment to comply with the Pay Equity Act. It is important to note that this self-assessment is not intended to address all perceived compensation issues. Rather, it is strictly limited to those that deal with gender-based differences for comparable work. By performing this self-evaluation, we are able to assert an affirmative defense on any claim that may be brought before us. We also believe we are one of the first, if not the first municipality to have completed this labor-intensive exercise. As I have previously stated to the City Council, this law went into effect July 1st, 2018, and my salary adjustments should also take effect on that date. The financial transfers requested will fully fund the salary adjustments of the 6 employees who require further action to comply. Please let me know if you have any questions. In the meantime, thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Gary Christensen, Mayor, City of Malden. Anyone wish to speak? Councilor Di Maria.
Thank you, and I'll just make it brief. I think it's fantastic that we did take the time to do this and adhere to the Pay Equity Act. I know that there's been concerns as we review our direct reports in our offices within the city, and I'm very happy that we're moving forward with this. So I'll defer to Councilor Kamel as to where he'd like to send this paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm glad to see that the mayor has taken the initiative to go forward with this. If you just look at some of these departments, it's very, we know that these departments have to be addressed. We've talked about it for a while, and I'm glad that he's taken a big step forward to do this, to compensate these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kamel.
I would refer to finance, motion to refer to finance.
Sure. Councilor Kamel's motion to refer this paper, like to speak?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. We're having a little problem with the microphones today, but thank you. Yeah, there's an issue that that has been around for a little while that we've been discussing at different times of budget season, and I'm glad to see that this has finally taken place. I think it's a good step forward, and I look forward to seeing the results in committee.
Thank you. Councilor Kamel's motion to refer this paper to Finance, seconded by Councilor Di Maria. All those in favor? All those opposed? The paper has been referred. Next order of business.
Resolved that it is the sense of the Malden City Council that the water and sewer rates not be raised this year.
Councilor Matheson for the paper.
Thank you. This is a resolve. As you know, water and sewer rates go up every year, and we hear about that sometimes after the fact. I believe that at this point we have enough retained earnings that we could have serviced a zero-interest loan from the MWRA in the amount of about $15 million. So I did check with the Comptroller's Office. I don't believe that there's an intention of raising rates this year, which is a good thing, but I'd like to pass this resolve, and I move to pass in roll call. Thank you.
On Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, I really would like to have more information about where we stand on this. I just, to pass resolve on this. You know, we heard last week that, you know, we have a significant amount of water work that needs to be done. And I guess I would like to see a more thorough assessment of where we're at. I mean, it's easy to pass resolve. That doesn't really mean that much. This is serious business for the city, and I think that if we're going to spend time doing these things, we should make sure that we have the information before us to really understand this type of thing. And so that's where I feel, you know, like I say, Mary Poppins used to say, pie crust promises are easily broken. So this resolve is really meaningless. Let's really look and see where we're at on our water pipes. And I personally thought last week we're not doing enough in terms of fixing our pipes. We have a 100-year plan to fix pipes that are 75 years old, and we have a lot of lead pipes. I guess I think I want to focus on expediting and moving forward more quickly on fixing pipes, and I don't really understand where this comes from right now. So I would, you know, I'm not supportive of a resolve without more information. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafora.
Yeah, I would ask the petitioner to at least hold off a couple weeks, simply because I know Councilor Winslow's point is on the infrastructure need, which there definitely is, but my concern is the MWRA seems to raise their rates without us knowing sometimes, or at least giving us an advance notice. The second thing is the state budget hasn't come to us yet. And believe me, I don't want to see the water rates go up. I think they're astronomical. And the third piece I would just say to wait on is I'm hoping that part of this water and sewer program we're seeing is the amount of leakage that we're getting in our pipes, because we're paying for that water regardless if we're passing it on to the residents. And if we could spend a little bit more money to save that money, it's a little bit more we can save. But I'm not against it. I'm not ready to pass at this point. I'd like to get in the budget discussion. Plus, I don't know what that budget looks like, if there's an earmark in there to raise this, and then we have to cut somewhere else. So I would rather just say, once we get the budget, we can look at it and then come back, and if there's a need not to raise them, I don't want to raise them. So I have no problem supporting that, but just not at this point. I just want to see a little bit more of the pie crust, as Councilor Winslow said, before we bake this pie. I would make a motion to table.
Okay, Councilor, can we let a couple other councilors? Councilor Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the sponsors of the idea of tabling it and letting me speak, even though the tabling motion is there. I think the sentiments that have been expressed about getting more information is really right on target. The idea of us limiting increases of taxes or sewer rates or any of that certainly plays well, and we all want to do that. But I think we have an obligation to see just what our finances look like. What's going to be the impact on this? I'd hope that we'd be able to do it, but I think for us to vote on this without having other information would be irresponsible. So I would support the idea of tabling this until we get more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Madam President. None of us want to raise water rates. You can amend this paper by saying taxes, fines and fees, but it's a resolve, and it's a resolve, and hopefully the MWRA doesn't assess us more than they normally do, so we don't have to raise water. I would vote for it. Like I said, it's a resolve, so it is what it is.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. As Councilor Anderson and Condon pointed out, yes, this does play well in the news. It does play well, but as we've talked about, our city finances are not the best, and we also have the highest percentage of lead service lines in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And while we would all like to pay less for our water and pay less for everything in life, we do need to maintain our infrastructure, especially the infrastructure that we and our children and our children's children will be drinking out of. So I am happy that we will be tabling it and finding out more information about our finances and how we can make sure that we are proactively maintaining our water system. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Spatafor's motion to table. Oh, Councilor Spatafor.
I want to make one more point in terms of, nobody wants to raise them. And there has been some discussion, I know, at the federal level. I think actually Congresswoman Catherine Clark, I read an article the other day, and there was actually an article in the Globe or the Journal today that there might be a deal in the federal government for a $2 trillion infrastructure bill, and part of that, according to Catherine Clark, was going to be for water infrastructure that they'd be giving the cities and towns. So if that does to come to fruition, and we do have that pot of money, we can use that to help with the infrastructure and keep the rates as low as we possibly can. So I think it's worth that being part of the discussion. Hopefully it comes to fruition sooner than later, because I know the country is in serious need of that money. But Washington is well aware that we need that type of money for our infrastructure. So hopefully that comes down from DC.
Thank you. On Councilor Spatafor's motion to table this paper, seconded by Councilor Matheson. All those in favor? All those opposed? The paper has been tabled. Next order of business.
Order that the city engineer and director of public works provide a report on the cost and time required to expedite the replacement of all public lead pipes in the city.
Councilor Matheson for the paper.
Thank you very much, Chair, and as the councilor from Ward 4 stated, Malden has the highest percentage of lead pipes per capita in the state. We're also one of only 5 communities that have passed below the acceptable lead level on the federal level. So with that being said, noticing that we have nearly $8 million of retained earnings, probably more when we recertify next month, I think that we might have the ability here to replace 100% of our lead pipes here in the city of Malden and do it at a rate that's much, much faster than we're doing it today. I think the rate that we had ascertained was 12 years at our current pace. I think we can do much better than that. And I'd like to amend this paper to say public and private lead pipes. I'd like to get information on all the public and lead service pipes that we have in the city and see at what pace we could replace them if we were to expedite. I think the Director of Public Works is the right person because the Water Department is in our Public Works Department. Clearly, the engineer has a list of all the water pipes in the city. I think those are the individuals. If John DeSantis wants to be brought in by Director Knox, that's fine. But I think this is information that we're all interested in. I think it would be a service to the community to get this information so we can plan how we're going to plan our strategy of replacing all these pipes in an expedited manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. Through the chair to the sponsor, your last paper was about reducing or not increasing water rates. How do you propose paying for this type of substantial increase in expenditure on our water system without increasing the water and sewer rates?
Councilor Matheson.
Right now, we are collecting over and above the actual cost of water and sewer, enough to finance a $15 million zero-interest loan from the MWRA. We're collecting that now. That's why we have $8 million in retained earnings. We have the ability to borrow and use our retained earnings to fix this problem. I hope that answers your question. Perhaps when we have more information from the subject matter experts, you'll be more satisfied with it. That's what I'm calling for here.
Anyone?
Yes.
I'll defer to Councilor
Councilor Anderson.
Yes, thank you. I think it's worthwhile us finding out just what it costs. I think Councilor Matheson raises an important issue for us. We need information on what it costs. If we can reduce the time that it takes for us to repair and replace these lead service lines, I think we'd all be doing a good service for the city. But again, like everything else, we need information. Just to be shooting from the hip and without the information doesn't make sense. And in this paper suggests that we get the information so that we can make informed decisions. So I wholeheartedly support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, I mean, in January, we did actually have a report on lead pipes, so I'm supportive of it. It's always good to ask the question, but it's also to be thoughtful of the time we're demanding of our staff that, I know that was really an update on where we're at. Always good to have more information. I think we did get a sense that was where the 12 years came from. So, I think I am supportive in general. Let's keep the, foot on the accelerator here and push. But I think we also should be aware of, repetitive demands on things rather than giving resources. Let's not just have people come in and talk. Let's also remember our responsibility. If we're going to accelerate things, we have to do things as a council as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Councilor Matheson, for bringing this to the table. I agree with Councilor Anderson, and I don't necessarily believe this is a repeat of information that we've been given. I think it's recasting it. There is a tremendous amount of information that is known in the DPW and in the engineering department, and what we're getting is the end result of what their thought process was, what they think is the right route to go. But we've never been really presented with any options as to other alternatives that might happen, such as if we choose to do this, we can speed this up. by 10% or 5% or 20%. And I believe, Councilor Matheson, not to put words in your mouth, that that's what you're looking at. You know, how could this be expedited, under what situations? And if we have that information and know the cost, then that will allow us to say, yes, we agree with what's being presented to us, or no, just like with the budget, we can have a conversation, you know, with the mayor's office about, and his staff about, well, you know, why can't we do it this way? We think there might be some benefit to this in our constituents. So I think it's a good exercise, and I would like to, you know, understand some of the information from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafora.
Yeah. I think everything I'm hearing here is, maybe I'm just wrong. I think last week, we did ask, or I think Council Winslow made a point to Mr. Hogan to ask for alternatives to speed up that program. So I think when they come back for any bonding, I think the request can just be opened up a little bit more to say, how much money is in the enterprise fund, what is that money being used to, and if we do go borrow that money, how much money out of the enterprise fund will be used to pay for that, and if we go plan A or B, what's the difference? Definitely there's a little bit more granular ask here in terms of the enterprise fund. I do know there's always been above and beyond the amount in the enterprise fund because you have the ability to pay for some of the administration. I know some of the salaries come out of that for the clerks. In the past, that's the way the budgets work. Like we've said, okay, there's 2 payroll clerks that help with those bills. We can take that money for the enterprise fund. The reason why I'm just saying that is because that should come out as part of the overall accounting to find out how much money is actually being used in that enterprise fund, what's left over, and can we hold water rates down, or should we be more aggressive in which plant should we use? That should be the next presentation that should be given to us as a whole. So I think it should cast a wide enough net to ask all those requests. Because we did ask them last week to come back with a couple plants, if I'm wrong. That's what I'm just remembering from last week, so. That's all I had. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Madam President. Never hurts to get stats and brainstorm ideas. If you remember, several years ago, we discussed how can we accelerate the lead pipe replacement, and somebody come up with the idea of people that sell their homes in the community. Why don't we require them to replace the lead pipes? Whether that be the seller or the buyer, I think we require the seller to do it. But there's a typical example of how you can expedite things, and that was simply sitting at the table and brainstorming ideas. You have between now and a couple weeks, think about something, whether it be a no-interest loan. Think about something what we might be able to do with the community development block grant money to give people a little incentive to do it. They have to understand that we're on a mission to get this done, and it's for the safety of the people in our community. So maybe we'll come up with an idea that will expedite things. It certainly doesn't hurt, so I'll support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Councilor Murphy.
This is a very strange request, but does anybody have a cough drop or a lozenge? I'm like dying.
Calling for a cough drop and lozenge.
Is there a lozenge in the house?
Ryan to the rescue.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President. I'm
You're
sorry.
welcome. Councilor Di Maria.
Thank you, and I think just to somewhat wrap up the dialogue, this request or order, as what I'm hearing, is not to diminish the hard work of our administrative staff that really, you know, drives this bus to organize and help with this lead pipe concern. I think that this is more of a collaborative partnership, and I definitely support this. Thank you.
Thank you. So on Councilor Matheson's motion to adopt, seconded by Councilor Di Maria, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The order has been adopted. Next order of business.
Ordinances. Be it hereby ordained that Chapter 7 of the Revised Ordinances of 1991 as amended be further amended by adding a new Section 7.29 relative to the use of recyclable and reusable bags.
Councilor Kamel.
Yep, so this is this would be the final vote to enroll.
Ordain.
I'm sorry, enrolled last time, and to ordain. I want to thank everybody for their thoughtful comments throughout this entire process. You know, not to rehash what's already been said, I think this is an important thing to do for our city. I think it takes a lot of waste out of the storm drains, out of the trees. Again, I'm not going to rehash everything I said. I want to thank Councilor DiMaria for her work in helping make sure we engage our citizens and ask for their input. And I want to thank members of our community who have come through and pushed this forward. So I will motion to ordain. Move to ordain.
On Councilor Kamel's motion, sorry, Councilor Matheson.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the sole dissent on this one, so I wanted to explain that for the folks at home. This came up a couple weeks ago to enroll. Tonight's the vote to ordain. The basis for my dissent was that I felt this was a perfect question for this year's ballot. It's easy to understand. It affects all of us. I thought we should put this to the people, so we could have a government that's by the people in this instance. I understand all the arguments in favor of it. I love the environment very, very much. There's a lot of good reasons for this, and I do realize it's a trend that's happening now. But I'm going to dissent on this one, and it's for the reason of public engagement by reason of ballot question. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Kamel's motion to ordain the ordinance, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson? Yes. Councilor Kamel? Yes. Councilor Condon? Yes. Councilor Crowe? Yes. Councilor DiMaria? Yes. Councilor Matheson? No. Councilor Murphy? Yes. Councilor O'Malley? Yes. Councilor Spatafora? Yes. Councilor Winslow? Yes. President Council Seeker?
Yes. The matter is ordained. Next order of business.
Ordinance, be it hereby ordained that Chapter 12 of the Revised Ordinances of 1991 as amended be further amended by adding new sections 800.6.2.24b, 300.3.2.13, 400.1.2.10, 500.1.2.9, and 500.2.23 relative to co-housing.
Councilor Spatafora for the paper.
Thank you, Madam President. Ordinance met several times in this. So I want to thank not only the sponsors, and I will turn it over to the lead sponsor, Council Winslow, but I also want to thank Michelle Romero and Nelson, who were very instrumental in not only helping us draft this, but giving us some real-life examples and making the paper, I think, stronger. It is another avenue for us in the city. It came out favorably, and we're hoping to ordain it tonight, but I would turn it over to Councilor Winslow.
Thank you. Councilor Winslow.
I mean, as we've discussed, this is the paper that will create a new use category for co-housing. So I really appreciate the support of the council and everybody's work in making this a better paper, and I'm looking forward to creating opportunities for more places and homes for people to live in Malden. So I would make a motion to ordain this ordinance. Thank you.
Nobody else? On Councilor Winslow's motion to ordain the ordinance, seconded by Councilor DiMaria, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson? Yes. Councilor Kamel? Yes. Councilor Condon? Yes. Councilor Crowe? Yes. Councilor DiMaria? Yes. Councilor Matheson? Yes. Councilor Murphy? Yes. Councilor O'Malley? Yes. Councilor Spatafora? Yes. Councilor Winslow? Yes. President Council Seeker?
Yes. The matter is ordained. Next order of business.
Claims. Alexandra Copens, 38 Cloverly Street in Lynn, and Aaron Mondell, 114 Boylston Street, Malden, Mass.
On Councilor Kamel's motion to refer the claims to finance, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matters have been referred. Next order of business.
Committee reports, personnel appointments. Paper 2-19, order that Eric Rubin, 5 Sullivan Circle, Stoneham, Mass. Be reappointed as Director of Public Facilities, said term to expire December 31st, 2021.
On Councilor Crow's motion to receive the committee report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The committee report is received.
Can actually we just read all of them so we don't have to
Sure.
go through, you know, the whole?
Sure.
Committee report personnel appointments, paper 10319, ordered that William Sedamino, 4 Wellington Street, Malden, Mass. Be reappointed as a member of the Cemetery Board of Trustees, said term to expire March 1st, 2024. Committee report personnel appointments, paper 77-19, ordered that Charles Ferguson, 44 Ashland Street, Malden, Mass. Be reappointed as an associate member of the Planning Board, said term to expire March 1st, 2022. Committee report personnel appointments, paper 78-19, ordered that Catherine Peckham Bilgen, 63 Upham Street, Malden, Mass. Be appointed as the builder architect member of the Zoning Board of Appeal, said term to expire March 1st, 2019. Committee report personnel appointments, paper 10419, ordered that Patrick Hayes, 105 Wyoming Ave, Malden, Mass. Be reappointed as a member of the Planning Board, said term to expire March 1st, 2024. Committee report personnel appointments, paper 10619, ordered that Andrew Simagny, 16 Cross Street, Malden, Mass. Be reappointed as a member of the Board of Register of Voters, said term to expire March 31st, 2022. Committee report personnel appointments, paper 35718, ordered that Annie Russo, formerly Annie Latham, be reappointed as a member of the Cultural Council, said term to expire September 18th, 2021.
Excuse me. On Councilor Crow's motion to receive the committee reports, all those in favor? All those opposed? The committee reports are received. Councilor Crow for the committees.
1 second. Yeah, I just want to show you this one. Sidebar.
Good catch.
Hang on 1 second. We're just making sure we have something done correctly. The question was on Catherine Bilgen, that it said term to expire March 1st, 2019. Council Matheson, do you remember when we had this conversation?
They're all staggered too, so. I'm sorry, can you re-mention the name?
The Catherine Bilgen for the Zoning Board of Appeals, 2019, March, that's already passed, so.
Didn't she fill in for somebody?
I think she was filling in, and now this will
Now this is
continue
her
on, so
term.
this is, we'll just have to fix the dates.
Is it a 3-year term?
It is a,
I think that
yes, she's only been, want to give her the report, and then we'll make sure we get that fixed.
she
And we'll
was
start.
filling an unexpired term.
Exactly, she was filling
Now
an
she-
unexpired term that, for the last 6 months, that's Catherine Bilden, and she's the architect builder, member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. As you can see, when we give this committee report, we had quite the robust meeting last week. We had 7 members from various boards and commissions, and, you know, the way that we have been doing this a little differently is having everybody in and really having a conversation with everybody, you know, separately, but about some of the work that they're doing on their boards and commissions, some of the things that they see, and to get to know other people that are on, doing some really fantastic work in the city. So with that, we do have Catherine Bilden, who does, like I said, she's the builder architect member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, has been filling in for the last 6 months, or filling in, but on unexpired terms, and now should be reappointed for 3 years. Anyway, so we make a motion to accept.
On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The appointment has been confirmed.
Thank you. We also met with Charles Ferguson and Pat Hayes. Charles is an associate member for the Board of Appeals, and Patrick Hayes has been a longtime member of the Board of Appeals. Well, he's been there since 2012. And Mr. Ferguson has been there for 6 months, and he's really, they both kind of talked about some of the work that's going on there and how they're reviewing sort of smaller projects and looking at properties and investments and things and how it impacts the community in the neighborhoods and some of the interesting work that's been going on at the Board of Appeals. So I make a motion that we confirms Charles Ferguson and Patrick Hayes. We can take it separately if you'd like. As the associate member for the board, the planning board, Charles Ferguson, and a member, Patrick Hayes.
On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm these appointments, all those in favor? All those opposed? The appointments have been confirmed. Next order of business.
We spoke with William Satimio, who is on, he's been a 10-year member of the cemetery board, and he really talked about all the work that's going on over there and how it's a great jewel, Forest Hill Cemetery and some of the other cemeteries, and really how they're looking forward to that. So I make a motion that we reconfirm William Satimio to the Cemetery Board of Trustees.
On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, all those in favor? All those opposed? The appointment has been confirmed. Next order of business.
Andrew Zamani also came in, and he is the Register of Voters board, and he's been there for 17 years. He's actually, seen a lot of changes, and he talked a lot more about the early voting. And after we had some hiccups with some of our last elections, really how much they put into that and with training for all their, the poll workers and everybody in the office, and really is, getting ready to launch the next set of elections. So I make a motion that we that we appoint Andrew Zamani confirm Andrew Zamani to the Register of Voters. I think I need that cough drop now.
On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The appointment has been confirmed.
We're
Next order of business.
Sorry, we're almost to the end. We have Annie Rousseau, who is a member of the Cultural Council, and she's just completed her first 3-year term, and she's really taken on some leadership roles there. She is the chair now, and she took on the treasurer's role about 1.5 years into her first term. And she talked about really some of the exciting things that have happened around arts, culture, and science in Malden, and the grants that they gave out, about $30,000 in grants to individuals, schools, and organizations who are focused on arts and culture in Malden. But they really had a lot more that they would love to have given out, but I make a motion that we confirm Annie Rousseau to the Malden Cultural Council.
On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The appointment has been confirmed. Next order of business, well, before next order of business, really fast, we have paperwork that says March 1st, 2022.
Okay,
For Catherine.
so March 1st, 2022.
So it was
for
just an
Catherine.
error.
Okay, thank you. And we're wrapping it up, so that's
Go
good.
ahead.
So last but not least, we met with Eric Rubin, who is Director of Public Facilities. And he said he's been in this job for actually 4 years now. It's April. 4 years went by pretty fast, but he really did talk about like the Honeywell project that I know the Energy Efficiency Committee really put into place. A lot of people. And so some of the exciting work that's happened and some of the changes he's trying to make with that department to really get the most effective use out of that department. So I make a motion that we reconfirm the mayor's appointment of Eric Rubin as the Director of Public Facilities.
Councilor.
I'm not going to dissent. I just wanted to take a moment, and I didn't have a chance last week to come in and voice my support. I've worked closely with Mr. Rubin over the past year, and I just want to give an extra vouch for his hard work and his deep knowledge of all the systems that keep a lot of the stuff in the background running, that keep the public buildings running. He's doing a great job, and I just wanted to voice that moment of extra support. So.
Thank you. On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, oh, you want to speak too? Councilor Spatafor, sorry.
I'll echo, hopefully he's watching, I'll echo, I think Eric's done a great job coming in, a lot of energy, new thoughts. Definitely try to be more preemptive in terms of keeping the building's maintenance. The only blemish I think he would have, we had a meeting scheduled yesterday, Council Winslow. We couldn't get in the building, so hopefully he's watching. I will still support him. I will still support him. But unfortunately, he didn't open the building for us yesterday, so we had a meeting outside. It was very nice out. But I will let Eric know, hopefully he gets to see this when we do it, but happy to support him.
Thank you. On Councilor Crow's motion to confirm this appointment, all those in favor? All those opposed? The appointment has been confirmed. Next order of business. We're done. No, she meant the appointments.
Okay, the next committee report, Rules and Ordinance, paper number 14019. Be it hereby ordained that Section 1.2 of the revised ordinances of 1991 be hereby amended by striking in their entirety the second, third, and fourth paragraphs as follows. I can read it here. Any provision or part of this code which conflicts with state or federal law shall be invalid, provided that for purposes of this section, federal law shall take priority over state law. A written determination by the City Solicitor, the Massachusetts Attorney General, the United States Attorney General, or any federal law enforcement official shall be sufficient to render a specific section or sections invalid. No officer or employee of the city shall take action to enforce any section or part of this code which has been determined in accordance with the preceding paragraph to be invalid, and any action so taken shall relieve the city of any obligation to indemnify said officer or employee for any damages arising therefrom.
On Councilor Spatafor's motion to receive the committee report, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Thank you, Madam President. So that was the technical jargon that was discussed there. This came on, I believe, the request of the Cannabis Committee. We changed the name, so I want to make sure. And also, Council Seeker was a sponsor, and Council O'Malley. Essentially, what we did, there was a paper that was put in several years ago when it came down to medical marijuana, as well as banking in the federal government. As most people probably realize now, that cannabis is recreational and medical is legal in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is still not federal. They are working on that. So we effectively took all the papers that we passed, or the paper that we passed several years ago, that outlawed the ability for us to work with those entities because they weren't federally registered. The Cannabis Commission was nervous knowing that there was this paper out there that effectively said they could not. So they asked us to remove that from our local ordinances, which we have. It is still not legal federally, but it is legal on the Commonwealth or the state level. So we just cleaned up our local ordinances to match that basically of state law and allow our Cannabis Commission to act independently and give us those licenses without having anything above their head in terms of a contradictory law or rule that we have established. I think I said it pretty well. If anybody wants to join me, more than happy. I'm asking for the council's full support on this. That's it, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy, you have your light on?
I do, thank you. And I do apologize, I just have a question because I did not attend the ordinance meetings when this was discussed. So does this change, I guess I'm going back to the fact that when we, are installed, we basically, agreed to uphold the federal constitution, state constitution, on our ordinances, et cetera. So does this change just apply to cannabis, or does it basically apply to maybe things we don't know about that now we're all of a sudden saying are,
It's only cannabis.
We don't care what the feds say?
Just cannabis.
It's just, I mean, the city solicitors, the assistant city solicitors here.
Attorney McNaught, could you come to the podium real fast?
But it's just cannabis because we put that in several years ago, if you recall. John, Council Murphy asked about the cannabis change that we made, or the federal and state laws that we had in 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, we changed the ordinances to remove that language that prohibited us from working with any marijuana companies because they weren't subject to the federal and state law. So we removed them. So Council Murphy asked, is this only affecting cannabis or anything else out there? Am I summing it up right, Council?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was out ill 2 weeks ago, so I was not able to attend the meeting, so I didn't hear the discussion. So my question was, knowing that, you know, when we're sworn in, you know, part of our swearing-in process is that we agree to uphold, you know, the federal Constitution, everything else all down the road. So my question is, I understand a change that relates to cannabis, and I just wanted to make sure that this change doesn't affect anything other than cannabis, that there's nothing else illegal that the feds consider illegal that we're now saying is legal.
There is no other problem you have with
Okay.
regard to that. In fact, I think I commented at the time of the committee meeting that there is an ongoing threat between the federal and state governments regarding states' rights, and the states' rights with regard to legalization of cannabis is going to be decided at some time in the near future. But in the meantime, your law here in Massachusetts permits you to take the oath appropriately to uphold the Constitution of both Massachusetts and the United States, and that you don't have a problem with regard to this particular change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney McNutt. Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, no, I appreciate Councilor O'Malley and Councilor Spatafora advancing this because, you know, just as the ordinance stands now, I mean, as we as clients or you know, as an attorney, I mean, a client is entitled to have an attorney who can be a zealous advocate for them, and there's often conflicts of law that are only resolved by higher authorities. And so my concern about the way the ordinance now stands is that we as counselors might be having to hire our own legal counsel, even though we're just doing our own advocacy for the city. So I think it's very appropriate to you know, do this. We still take the oath to uphold our federal and state constitution, but it's not always clear under the law what that is. And if we take a position that's valid, we should be entitled to have defense of our city solicitor to do that. And then if a higher court rules we have to do something different, then we do something different. But I think my concern is that this allows a lot of other authorities to you know, put us in situations where we would, as individual counselors, have to defend ourselves rather than defend ourselves as a city council. So I'm definitely supportive of this. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Spatafora's motion to enroll as amended, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson? Yes. Councilor Kamel? Yes. Councilor Condon? Yes. Councilor Crowe? Yes. Councilor DiMaria? Yes. Councilor Matheson? Yes. Councilor Murphy? Yes. Councilor O'Malley? Yes. Councilor Spatafora? Yes. Councilor Winslow? Yes. President Council Seeker?
Yes.
The order is enrolled.
The order is enrolled. Councilor Crowe, will you make a motion to recuse Councilor Spatafora from the next license committee?
Make a motion to recuse Councilor Spatafora from the
All those in
next item
favor?
on the agenda.
Aye. All those opposed? Councilor Spatafora has been recused from the committee report. Just one. Yeah, we're pulling it out first, and then we'll do the whole other list, just so, because it's only one. Yeah. You can make your motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table paper 136. It's regarding a lodging house in Ward 3 to the next city council meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilor Murphy?
I was just curious as to, I mean, obviously it's in your what? I actually did find out about the source of the fire. Yes.
Are we good?
Yes, for the next, can we do this next week, though? Not the next? Yes. So, okay, next Tuesday? Okay.
Okay. On Councilor Matheson's motion to table paper number 13619, seconded by Councilor DiMaria. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The paper has been tabled. Next order of business.
We'll do the paper 15719, outdoor parking, Spatafor Trust, 35 Canal Street, Malden, 10 spaces renewal.
I'm sorry.
On
Excuse me.
Councilor Murphy's motion to receive the, oh,
Madam-
sorry.
I think
Councilor
we
Con-
need to, we didn't even receive the committee report, so I think we need to receive the committee
Yep.
report and then.
Sorry. On Councilor Murphy's motion to receive the committee report, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The committee report is received. Councilor Murphy for the committee.
Well, did you want to do your tabling motion again?
I thought, so on my list, that's at the end, after you read them all.
All right, so let's, no, all right, so let's just go through in order, and I would ask that the clerk read, as opposed to read all of the licenses, that she read groupings of similar licenses together, and then we'll speak to them.
Okay. So, can we vote on Spatafor?
Pardon me?
We're is it okay to vote on Spatafor?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. On Councilor Murphy's motion to approve this license,
You've got to find it.
all those in favor?
I can't see.
I'm sorry.
157, outdoor park. Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is an outdoor parking permit for Spatafor Trust located at 35 Canal Street in Malden for 10 spaces. This is a renewal. They have increased their number of spots at our request because they do towing for the police department and did not have an adequate amount of spaces prior to this. So I was voted out of committee unanimously, and I would ask that the petition be granted.
Thank you. On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant this petition, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petition has been granted. Next order of business. Yep, he can come back.
Thank you. I'll never forget my glasses again.
Okay. Pool table, paper 15519, pool tables, Irish American, 177 West Street, Malden, 2 tables, renewal. Paper 15819, pool tables, Town Line 10, Pin Corp., 665 Broadway, Malden, 19 tables, renewal. Paper 16219, pool table, ITAMS, Post 1640, Oakland Street, Malden, 1 table, renewal.
Thank you. Our compliance officers have visited all these locations. Everything is in order, and I would, they were all voted out of committee unanimously. I would ask that the petitions be granted by the full council.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant these petitions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petitions have been granted. Next order of business.
Paper 15919, bowling alley, 10 line, 10 Pin Corp., 665 Broadway, Malden, 48 lanes, renewal.
Once again, there's no issue with this particular petitioner. I was voted out of committee unanimously, and I would ask that the full council approve the petition.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant this petition, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petition has been granted. Next order of business.
Paper 16019, outdoor parking, Pine Banks Auto, 1100 Main Street, Malden, 35 cars, renewal. Paper 16119, outdoor parking, Robert McNulty, 28 Cedar Street, Malden, 14 cars, renewal.
Once again, there's no issues with any of these outdoor parking facilities. Our compliance officers have visited them. Everything is in order. They were referred out of committee unanimous, and I would ask that the full council approve the petitions.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant these petitions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petitions have been granted. Next order of business.
Paper 15619, second-hand dealer, GameStop, number 6263, 44 Broadway, Malden, renewal.
Once again, no issues with this. They have been checked, our compliance officers checked with the police department. They are filing all of their reports in a timely fashion. There's been no issues with anything that has been pawned there. So it was once again reported out favorably from committee, and I would ask that the full city council approve the petition.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant these petitions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Petition has been granted. Next order of business.
Paper 16319, taxi driver Daniel Knight, 18 Wadsworth Street, Malden, renewal. Paper 16419, taxi driver Michael Rapaglia, 9 Richardson Street, Malden, renewal. Paper 16519, taxi driver William C. Cook, 98 Laurel Street, Malden, renewal. Paper 16619, taxi driver Leslie J. Renee, 41 Warren Ave, Malden, renewal. 16719, taxi driver Christopher Jackson, 24 Surfside Road, number 6, Lynn, Mass, renewal. 16819, taxi driver John A. Danka, 36 Highland Court, Malden, renewal. 16919, taxi driver Carlos Vargas, 123 West Wyoming Ave, Melrose, renewal. 17019, taxi driver Camille Kishart, 36 Road B, Everett, Mass, new. 17119, taxi driver Alan Fisher, 28 Hazelwood Street, Malden, renewal. 17219, taxi driver Dennis Sullivan, 500 Revere Beach Boulevard, number 205, Revere, Mass, renewal. 17319, taxi driver William L. Sweet, 117 Medford Street, Malden, renewal. 17419, taxi driver John O'Flaherty, 240 Bellingham Ave, Revere, Mass, renewal. 17519, taxi driver Valentine Tahali, 92 Dever, number 408, Malden, renewal. 17619, taxi driver John Snyder, 503 Columbus Ave, Suite 11, Boston, renewal. 17719, taxi driver John Maluski, 28 Hazelwood Street, Malden, renewal. 17819, taxi driver Richard Habib, 826 Broadway, Revere. 17919, taxi driver Stephen Grasso, 90 Sylvan Street, number 9, Melrose. That's it.
Thank you. Once again, even for the audience's edification, you know, we take the review of our taxi drivers very seriously. Each year, we re-query them. We look at, you know, anything that comes up on their records. All of these queries came back clean and fine. Not clean, they came back fine, something that was acceptable to us. The license committee voted these petitions out favorably on a unanimous basis, and we would ask that the full council grant them this evening.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant these petitions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petitions have been granted. Next order of business.
Paper 13619, Lodging House. I'm sorry.
18019.
18019, Lodging House. Cedar House LLC, 118 Cedar Street, Malden, renewal.
This petition was voted out unanimously by the license committee, and we would ask that the full city council grant it. There have been no issues with this rooming house and has the support of the ward councilor.
On Councilor Murphy's motion to grant this petition, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The petition has been granted. Next order of business.
Council, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Well, kind of.
You were recused.
You were recused. It happened a little quickly. Councilor Matheson did not have time to investigate the cause of the fire that occurred at the Clifton Street location. I told him that I did know the answer to that, but he has asked that we discuss it separately after this, and we will put it back on the docket next week. We will not wait 2 weeks for a council meeting.
Okay.
It was seconded and.
Council, can I ask? Me and Councilor Murphy went to the house. The concern I have with that is, talking to Nelson, we allowed him to rebuild it as a rooming house. So it is a rooming house.
And has an occupancy permit.
It has an occupancy permit. I just don't understand what the challenge is.
I gotta take one of yous off real fast. Go right ahead, Councilor Matheson.
So I appreciate that you want to talk to me about this now, But there was ample opportunity for you to talk to me as the ward councilor about this if you had any issues or concerns. I'm just doing my diligence. There were 2 committee meetings happening concurrently. I was only able to be in attendance at 1 committee meeting. I missed that other committee meeting. Traditionally, I think we would hold that so that the ward councilor could be present for a license renewal, particularly a lodging house. But I understand that you have some feelings about this. Perhaps you want to speak with me after the meeting.
Counselor, I wasn't at one of the meetings. It's not, I thought it was gonna be voted on tonight. I didn't know you had feelings about it.
Okay.
To be honest with you. The concern I have is that at one point, we have to give somebody a license back, and if we don't, I know what's gonna happen in that house. It will be a sober home tomorrow without a license. That's what's gonna happen. Because I asked Nelson, how do we allow him to build this back as a house? He said it's pre-existing non-conforming. And I walked through the house with Councilor Murphy to see what it was set up as. If we didn't want to let him rebuild it, we shouldn't have let him rebuild it. There's 3 legal rooming houses in the city. I don't want to see any of them, but the problem is it's been rebuilt. And this is the 3rd week that we've been waiting to get this out.
All of your conversation's been well documented for the attorney or whoever else you're trying to support.
I'm not supporting anybody.
Because this matter has already been voted on, Councilor. You're out of order. We've already passed this item on the docket. It's been tabled.
When was it tabled?
When you were wandering around over in the other room.
When you were
Actually,
recused,
just a
Counselor.
point of information.
I don't think the recusal had even happened yet, but I understand you want to have a debate now, but it doesn't.
I didn't hear a table motion. I was standing right there. There was no vote on the table.
We did vote to table it.
Actually, the vote actually never took place. Councilor Matheson asked to table, and then he talked to Councilor Murphy, and then we it got a little crazy because that was when I had mentioned that we did not even receive the committee report, so we never actually took
All I'm asking, I didn't hear, the only reason why I'm asking, I didn't hear the tabling. That's all I asked, and that's why I want to know what's going on. I have no problem tabling it. If you want to table it. Well, you said I was out of order. There was never a vote to table.
There was.
Okay. No, I didn't.
Well, as committee,
I thought we voted to table that.
I thought we did too, but I would think that we probably should
do it again?
No, if you table the table, I have no problem. I asked Council Crowe if it was tabled.
I have never seen anything like this. I really haven't.
Okay, on Councilor Murphy's motion to table?
No, I'm not, that wasn't my motion. It was Councilor Matheson's motion, seconded by Councilor DiMaria.
On Councilor Matheson's motion to table this paper, seconded by Councilor DiMaria. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The paper has been tabled.
For 1 week, though.
For 1 week.
1 week.
The docket is clear. Anyone have personal privilege? We're going to start with Councilor Winslow since the lights are crazy.
All right. So, yeah, just a few things. This Saturday, May 4th, we're doing a Ward 2 cleanup this weekend on Highland Avenue. 9 a.m. we'll be meeting at the El Portro restaurant parking lot. As you heard, on May 5th, there's the bike rodeo. And then on May 11th, behind the U-Haul near Bryant Street, we're having Becca Fest, which is from 11 to 2, and it's a celebration of the life of Becca Knight, a former Walden High student and basketball player. So we'll be having some basketball hoops, games, music, face painting, and some refreshments. So invite everybody to come down for that and just have a nice time and enjoy our lives, not to forget about that. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of things here. Saturday, May 4th, is the 9th annual Ward 5 Clean Sweep. Flyers are being delivered. Hopefully you'll get one. If not, it will be on the city website. It will also be on my Facebook page. There is a schedule as to when your street will be swept. We would ask that you try to be cognizant of moving cars so that we really can get a deep clean in the ward. And also that if you if you could sweep your sidewalk into the street and, pick up, anything that you don't want on the sidewalk, throw it into the street. It is not a yard waste pickup day, though, and we would ask that you not take large amounts of leaves from your lawns or sidewalks and put them in the street, because it could clog the sweeper and ruin the day. So that's number one, but we're looking forward to seeing everybody out and about. It's a day that, you know, I'm out all day long, kind of chit-chatting with people and talking to people who are out trying to help beautify Ward 5. The second thing that I'd like to announce is that the City of Malden, in conjunction with All Creatures Veterinary from Salem, Massachusetts, are once again sponsoring our annual rabies clinic. This is a really, you know, good opportunity. If you have a dog or a cat, they can get a rabies shot for $10. It is quite a bargain. The vets will be at the Central Fire Station from 10 to noon on Saturday, May 11th. So please take advantage, you know, of the opportunity to have your pets inoculated with the rabies vaccine if they haven't already. It's 10 to noon. 10 to noon. And once again, that's the Central Fire Station. Pets do have to be leashed. Cats, obviously, and carriers. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kamel.
I want to share the information that the week following, Ward 5's, on Saturday, May 11th, that Ward 6 will be having our clean sweep. I want to talk about that now because I don't think it will be televised next week. So we'll be meeting. You are welcome to come volunteer down to Maplewood Square at 8 o'clock. We'll be down there cleaning up the square. If you can't come down the square, you can also help out by sweeping your sidewalks into the street. We're asking folks to we're trying to keep it streamlined, ask folks to do it by 10 o'clock to give the DPW between 10 and noon to come through and with the street sweepers and sweep the streets. So springtime is here. Let's clean up the city. It's a beautiful city, and let's take care of it together. Thank you.
Thank you. You good? You good? Councilor Anderson?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the folks who came out this last Saturday from about 9 o'clock in the morning until 2 or 3 in the afternoon to help us clean up the streets and sidewalks in Ward 7. I want to particularly thank the DPW who coordinated their sweepers to follow along behind our neighborhood volunteers that were with backpacks and leaf blowers to blow the debris and so forth off of the streets. Councilor Winslow was there along with folks from the Ward 7 Association. And it's a big effort. It's an effort that you know, you really see the results when you know that there's a coordination between clearing off the sidewalks and clearing the streets, and it's a lot of work, and I hope that folks are appreciative of the hard work and volunteer work that's put into doing that. So thank you for those who helped us last Saturday cleaning up Ward 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Crowe.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, this Thursday, the YWCA will be having their 9th annual bowling fundraiser at Town Line 10-Pin, if you've not gotten your team. They're in short supply, so you can want to call the YWCA by tomorrow, 781-322-3760. And I really just want to thank so far all the people that have put in teams and sponsorships, and we're looking forward to a really great evening. And I know this seems like it's going to be far away, but it's not. Mother's Day is right around the corner. So Sunday, May 12th, school committee member Michael Drummy and I will be hosting the annual Mother's Day breakfast at Anthony's Restaurant, 9 to 11. Please come on down, help us celebrate Mom. We have a great spread ready for people with maybe some raffles and just a lot of fun. And whether you're a mom or not and you just want to support Mom, we welcome you. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you. In the spirit of cleanups, because it's spring, the Chinese Cultural Connection, as well as Malden Key Club members and the Ward 4 Association will be cleaning up Quartermally Park this coming Saturday, May 4th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The park is located right next to the MDC pool. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone, oh, Councilor Murphy, sorry. Councilor Murphy.
I'm sorry, thank you for letting me speak again. I just, something I should have mentioned, and I didn't. We had a wonderful dedication this past Sunday at the Forestdale Park, which is located on Sylvan Street, which has been formally dedicated and renamed in memory of a very special young man, Alex Gentili, who graduated from Malden High School and was part of one of the original members or players of our Challenger League. And our Challenger League is plays at Forestdale Park. Forestdale Park has been all redone to make it, you know, a handicap accessible playing field. And Director Knox and Jim Cahill, director of the cemetery, did a fabulous job ordering the stone and actually, you know, dressing the entire backside of the field so that it truly is it's a memorable moment. If you had seen Alex's parents, Jerry and Penny, just talking about what it meant to them that a park has been named after their son and he will live on in everybody's memory. It was an incredible afternoon. The turnout from the Challenger League kids, even though their game had been canceled, was incredible. Their parents, the captain's club, the captain's what do they call it? Captain's table at the high school. Barbara Shabelli, she runs the captain's group, Captain's Table. All of those kids came. It was just an outpouring of love and respect and remembrance for a life gone way too soon. So I'm very happy to have the Alex Gentili Memorial Park located in Ward 5. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matheson.
Yeah, thanks. This last Saturday, longtime Ward 3 resident Barbara Lasky passed away from cancer at age 65. She lived on Prospect Street, and I was with her right before her death. My thoughts go out to her daughter, Robin and Danny Lasky. I'd ask that we give a moment of silence. The services are this Thursday from 4 to 8 at Ware's Funeral Home in Salem Street. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Good evening.